And we are live, I think. Are we? Yes, we are.
Are we?
Yes,
If
we
so, okay. Why, hello there, pen warrior, Shams Nelson.
From Pen and Blade.
And then you got to do and Phil and Will. We have a whole thing now. No one else. Okay, and Phil and Will. Oh, Phil and Will here on Pen and Blade. Okay, whatever. I messed it up. We're gonna get this, you guys. Pen and Blade. I have to at least do that. Okay. And today we've got like a whole host of surprises in store. I don't even know what they all are. You've already seen some of them, which is the countdown timer and this glorious scenery, which apparently has its own world building and backstory. So I think I'm gonna hand it off to you guys to start letting us know what's new in store, man.
Yeah, I mean, I can start. So yeah, as you can see, this is like a completely new setup that we are using. I spent a considerable amount of time working on this, so I'm really proud of it. So if I'm giggling a lot, then that's because of it. Yeah, so Will made this really cool background for the world building streams that you can see, and it's actually the main island that we're gonna start today, or it's a perspective from that island. You can see like the wizard, the sorcerer's tower that is like a lighthouse that reaches so far. And yeah, we thought that would be very cool. And yeah, thanks to Will again for making this. This is amazing. Looks so cool.
Now wait, can we see your beautiful face, Phil? I tried to stop streaming my screen because I wanted people to see you when you're chatting, but now it looks like it's just my big old head looking...
Yeah, I fixed you.
Looking confused.
Yeah, I can actually not. Yeah,
you have all the power.
Pin. I can remove the pin, so I can. Yeah, that's me. Hi. Okay, back to you.
All right. So I think you have the itinerary, right? Are you leading this band?
I don't know. I guess so. Yeah,
because I don't know. I'm showing up. I'm here to draw maps, draw characters, whatever we need to do. I'm into it. I know, but you and Will are the ones who have already some background, some idea of what we're gonna do. I thought.
Well, Will already has seen the main island map, and I think you have too, like a year ago. I think I showed you
a little while ago. I remember it quite well, actually. The east and west sides, and it's divided, and there's some broken walls from the ancient war.
Yes.
And, you want me to do a screen share and I can talk about some of the bits on the thing I drew for the background?
Yeah, sure.
That sounds good. Let's start there.
All right. Okay. Let's do a screen share then. So share content, not the private folders. Well, I'm assuming this is going to work perfectly without any issue, and it'll be great. Right, so this is the map that I'm still sort of working on with Coral. These are all the maps, and then this is the map image that we did. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to circle around some just because it's always interesting to see how people make art and how they layer it out. And I'm never quite sure whether the way that I make layers is going to be confusing or easy for people to understand. But what we did was we played around a bit with whether this guy and the background were going to be separate, but in the end what we've done is it's all as a single image. I'll change that to red, actually, it's easy to see. So it's all a single image, and then this is transparent, so that's where you can see the grid behind it, because it's a PNG file, a PNG file, and we went through a couple of things. So the guy here, this guy, the monk, the wizard, he's someone that we could up because he's just a kind of a generic guy. Oh, I need to get rid of that. Actually, that's a bit messy. So he could be anyone. At the minute, he's kind of based on the way that Phil's character is drawn. So I think I did a guy that was.
Yes.
It's in one of these folders somewhere. There's a picture of Phil dressed as a wizard.
The Cyber Rogue, I believe. Is that the one you're referencing?
Yeah, it's kind of a techie wizard. So he could change. We could put different people. I kind of like the idea of one where the person is looking at you, but I don't know. If we could do animations in it as well, we could do some really cool stuff, but that's probably another further down the road. Lighthouse, the wizard's lighthouse, the magic lighthouse. At the minute, if you zoom in on it, it's a gem, and I did do it originally purple, but I thought it didn't make much sense against the background. If we do a version of this where it's different weather or different times of the day, we can put more of a glow coming off this, so it's like.
So there's an ancient gem, or there's a giant gemstone that creates the light for this light tower.
Yeah.
Oh, is that just more of an artistic liberty? It's not officially part of the world building yet.
It's part of the multiverse.
The multiverse, okay.
What it is exactly, I don't know, because you had said it was a magical tower, so I thought, well,
yes,
a crystal moment, but it could be anything really. We could change it to something else.
We will actually come to that later. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the city down here is based off what it was that you had shown me, Phil. This guy.
Nice.
Yeah, this guy down here. So the towers are roughly based on the layout of the image you had shown me. And then I put a little tower down here just to kind of make. So if a city's not right next to a coast, it will have a town nearby it that supplies it and acts as its like port, and it's almost an extension of the city. Because otherwise they wouldn't. And really, ideally, we should put some boats here. A bunch of any major city will with a huge, an enormous lighthouse. Well, actually, when you look at the scale of it, if that's like a really big tower, that's maybe 400.
Oh shoot!
Like that's interesting. If that's half as the Empire State, that's twice as tall.
No, and like exceptionally wide as well. No, that's like what's it called? That skyscraper in Dubai or something like. Just something ridiculous. Okay, that's cool.
It looks like a big sail. Yeah, so that's the map, and there's a little bit of forest there.
And so this is based on the map that we will be creating today. This is one of the major cities, I'm guessing, on that island.
Yeah, I can talk a bit about the main island, because this is the main island. Cool. This is what the whole universe is about. A lot of the lore is there, and I'm gonna send you a picture in private, and then you can already start like giving it an overhaul and sketching it.
Okay.
While I explain the 3,000 years of history of that island.
Okay, well that sounds like.
All right, let me just.
That's like when.
When
someone's like, "Let me tell you a story,"
like
I was born on. Like,
let me just tell you a quick story, and then 20 seasons later.
Oh goodness! That's crazy.
It.
Okay, cool. So I got the thing on WhatsApp. Now, is this
this map here on the screen?
I'm.
It's a different place.
Yes. That's a different place, completely different. It's another island in that universe. Yeah. But this is the like what we are working with today. That's the main island, and
I love that map you made. By the way,
thank you.
It's got a lot of character.
I know. I came with that.
Should I share my screen to show it?
Yeah, sure. I can now actually switch between. You can keep screen sharing, which is cool. So I can just switch between.
Oh, awesome! Okay, I'm just gonna open it up in Procreate, and while I'm doing that, I will start sharing my screen, and then I'll just leave it sharing, and I'm going to let you. Oh, wait, you cannot start screen sharing while another participant is sharing. I thought we changed that.
Maybe there's a setting for that. I don't know. Did you actually click on it?
Multiple participants can share simultaneously. It has a check mark. Can share. Advanced sharing options. Who can share? Host only, all participants. It says host only, but Will is sharing, so I don't know.
Maybe just click on the all
That's weird.
participants. I don't know.
Yeah, it won't let me. Let me see. Okay. Well, I'll start to try to do that, but
All right.
yeah,
Yeah, so we can already start with the history of this while we're still looking at the multiverse island. So yeah, this island, like, funny story, I actually came up with it when I was still in school. Like, this is a very old map. This is one of my first maps that I ever like fully fleshed out. Based on your drawing tutorials, so that's kind of cool.
Cool.
And yeah, my first version of it was still made in
awesome.
my like school notebook. Yeah. So the story behind it is that it's an island with two sides.
Well, okay, wait, real quick, I feel like we should show the thing while we're doing this, but for some reason it's not letting me do it. So we'll have to figure that out for the next stream.
I can stop screen sharing if you want to do a screen share.
Yeah, I think we'll have to do that. Let me see. Okay.
All right.
And then you can try to start screen sharing again, and while I'm screen sharing, and see maybe if I do it first, it'll make a difference. But yeah, we'll figure it out. Cool.
If it does do it, it's a limitation of the fact that we're on iPads. Oh no, I can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah, but
everything
now
is
Shams is not screen sharing, right?
Oh, you're not. Oh, okay.
Oh no! No! It is. So we can choose options. Now we can switch between the different ones.
Can
I think.
Yeah. It's letting me do it.
Cool.
Where is it? I haven't actually got the stream link. Is it on Twitch?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. Okay.
So who's
side by side mode?
It
says it's side by side mode.
I'm watching Sir Sham's screen.
Okay, well, I don't know. It says side by side mode. It's acting like we're both doing it, but I don't see Will's either, so I'm not exactly sure why it's lying to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Well, here's the map, so that's good. At least we've got.
So yeah, I can start talking about it, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the island. It changed in shape a bit since my first version, but this is pretty much. So what you have to understand, the story that starts like roughly 2,000 years ago. It's pretty vague before that, but the main story happened 500 years ago. So this version is like in the present, and then 500 years ago there was a big event that changed the course of this universe a lot. But yeah, the story begins 2,000 years ago. So there were the two kingdoms, the Eastern and the Western Kingdom. I know, very creative names. Anyway, so the Eastern Kingdom had a very actually no, wait, that is sorry. Sorry, I recently added the 1,500 years before the big event thing. So yeah, I'm still yes. Okay, I have to start a bit earlier. So there was the Western Kingdom, which was flourishing 2,000 years ago, and then climate changed a bit. I took a lot of inspiration there from how Egypt was built, because when it was first settled, this was still like green land, and then it changed. So pretty much the same happened here as well. So you have the Western Kingdom, which you can see like the little island with the broken down castle, the one on the west.
Let's see. I'll start to highlight while you're mentioning it. So we're talking about. Let's get a nice red color so everyone can see. So this is this guy right here.
No, a bit up and to the left.
This one.
Yes. So they were on the island. It was a lot of access to water, which was good. And then the landscape changed a bit. It became drier over there, and the kingdom started to crumble a bit. And settlers decided to go on the other side of the island, basically, like they weren't believing in the kingdom anymore. And even though the climate was changing on the whole island, they still decided, let's just try it on our own. And they created Breeden, the capital of the Eastern Kingdom. And they were more and more flourishing because they adapted to the new environment, because they just settled there, right? Like they weren't used to any environment before, while the old kingdom still tried to use their own ways, and that's why the old kingdom started to started to crumble a bit. And so that created a lot of rivalry. While Breeden was had a firmly defensive stand and said that, yeah, we're gonna help you out if you want to, but we're not gonna be your slaves or whatever. The Western Kingdom always saw a threat in Breeden, as in, yeah, like they're becoming stronger and stronger every day, so we need to be prepared. And that went on for 1,500 years, and at the end of this 1,500 year span, the weather changed again, and it became green again. So they both had to adapt again, and there was more and more tension, because now Breeden was not like this forerunner city that basically the underdogs that built the city, but now it was like, yeah, okay, they basically have a lot of history now, so yeah, they're just settling on our island. And the Western Kingdom had a very offensive stance against Breeden, while Breeden still had a defensive stance. And so there was more and more tension, and at some point the Western Kingdom decided to say, now we're gonna merge the two kingdoms again and make this one kingdom again. Breeden disagreed, obviously, because they thought that the Western Kingdom, they had more of an enslavement in mind than a merge of two kingdoms, which, to be fair, I don't know 100% if that's true or not, but let's just go with, yeah, they had a fair point there, because that wasn't the first time they tried something like this. And they started to launch small attacks on the eastern side of the island. So Breeden then built this massive wall. So the island was already naturally split into two parts through the mountain chains in the north and the south, but in the middle there was this huge field, which was it's also going a bit southwest on the bottom. So it's really like splitting the island.
This whole area. Okay.
No, what I mean is, like, there's the mountain chain, like, literally goes up until the sea. There.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Breeden started to build a wall. And at that time, the Western Kingdom wasn't really sure if they wanted a full-blown war, so they also started to build this wall as a defense against Breeden. So it was kind of like, okay, we agreed to build a wall to defend against each other, which was, I don't know. But anyway, so they started to build this wall. And the Western Kingdom now felt completely isolated, because Breeden was sprawling. Like, it became bigger than the Western Kingdom. Not military-wise, but just economically. So they felt more and more left out. So they saw as if they had no other chance of starting a war with the Eastern Kingdom, which was at that point already a kingdom. So it was not just Breeden, but there were also other cities now. So they started the war, and there were quite a few battles. They're not mentionable, but the second most mentionable, the second most important part of this war was the second to last battle, which is called the Battle of the Hills. And basically what they tried to do is they wanted a sneaky attack on Breeden. So Breeden had a lot of open fields, right? They could see them coming. And if you go to the south of the map, they have the Camp Warden there. Which the Camp Warden was basically the defense in the south. So they really only had one chance to come through the north, through the mountains, which was a... yeah, all right. I'll let you ride.
Oh, sorry. Wait, where are we off now?
Yeah. So if you go to the north, there's actually a path over there. So it's a dangerous path in the
this
north,
one,
very very north. Yes. But they tried to go through the mountains to reach the Eastern Kingdom and to take them by surprise. but the spies were good enough to catch that. So the Eastern Kingdom troops caught the army that was marching over, that was already tired, on the hills in the northeast, where you can see like the little like it looks like a fallen battlefield. And
this one right here.
No, in the northeast. The northeast.
In the northeast.
We're coming to there.
Oh,
yeah.
There's a lot of battlefields. Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Okay.
It was
messed up, man.
It was basically the army of the Eastern Kingdom against the army of the Western Kingdom. The Eastern Kingdom had a lot of advantages there. They weren't as tired because they didn't have to walk that much. They knew the terrain, and yeah, basically, the Western Kingdom had a lot of disadvantages there, and the only advantage they had was the surprise, which they lost because of the spies. So there was a very, very bloody battle, and everybody thought the war was over in Britain. They never really wanted to launch an attack back, but they always defended themselves. But yeah, this was a bloody battle. And yeah, now the Western Kingdom was nearly defeated, and now they're like, okay, now they really want to hunt us, right? They got really paranoid. So they had one ace up their sleeves.
But the Western Kingdom was the ones that they were planning to like enslave when they joined together, right?
The Western Kingdom tried to enslave the Eastern ones.
So the Western ones are the bad guys, but they think that the Eastern ones are the bad guys.
Yes.
And they're hella sketch. It's interesting because it's like the way you are, you expect other people to be. So it's like they probably would have done that.
Wow.
To
pretty much.
Right? And so they were assuming that they were going to have that done to them.
Exactly.
It's
so yeah, they got really desperate, and now they're like, okay, now they completely cornered us, so we have to do one last blow, and that really must be successful. So they had one last ace, and that was a serpent dragon that they tamed for that one, yes. Which is, this map is a bit, is newer basically, but that one was held, if you go to the Western Kingdom capital, was basically kept.
Is it this guy?
Yes. It was basically kept there and trained for a battle situation over hundreds of years, because they prepared for this a long time. And yeah, and they thought like, okay, now we're gonna just tell him, yeah, just take the Eastern Kingdom out. But you know, dragons are sentient, right? He really didn't give a shit about this war. So what he decided is, so you were my captives, the other one didn't harm me at all, so I'm just gonna destroy your yeah, exactly. So that was the killing blow to that kingdom. And then the dragon settled on that side of the island, and after that, Britain decided to leave that land untouched, to leave the dragon alone, basically. Like, the dragon helped us a lot there, so we're gonna leave him alone. And
he gets to dwell wherever he wants around here.
Yeah, basically. Within the walls, also in the northern walls of that kingdom, that they also
here too.
There he can't be. Well, he could be, but he doesn't go there. That's basically his.
He's respectful.
Yes.
This is his lands.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And as you can see, like, the dragon really obliterated that land. In the south, because of the Guardian Lake, stuff started to grow again, but especially like in the middle part of the map, a lot of stuff is still dead. Like, a lot of the land, like, there's not much going on there.
So I see these are some dead trees, right?
Yes.
So there's these burnt forests and such. And then what is this? Is this a little fire? What is going on here?
Yes, this is a little fire, just because the map is new, but most people don't know what it looks like on the western side of the map. So they just imagine like what it was like when the war was still there, when they could go there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, there's not literal fire anymore, but you know, just to really emphasize on how much destruction that dragon rained.
It's like a symbolic representation
of
the destruction.
Yeah, and the old swords that you can see there, for example, that were the fleeing troops. But yeah, no one really survived, not to the Eastern Kingdom's knowledge. Yeah, so that was the events of the war, which was 500 years ago, and since then a lot changed. So that was the you could say that the turning point which turned this universe into something else, because now Breeden was there and they were like, we have to make sure that stuff like this paranoia stuff that created this whole war and cost hundreds and thousands of lives, that this never happens again. So Breeden started to create or send emissaries to other islands around, and they created the Themesian Union. The Themesian Union is a defensive organism. They share an army. It's a bit like NATO, to be honest. It's exactly like NATO. So they
or
share...
maybe NATO is exactly like the Themesian Union.
Exactly.
Something to consider.
Exactly.
Wait, am I spelling it right?
No, it's Amesia. Well, Themesia is the universe. That's why it's called the Themesian Union. The island is called Themesia.
Is it not? Oh, okay. What is the island called? Does it have a name?
Don't have a name for it.
Okay, that's surprising. You have 3,000 years of history, but no name. Okay.
Well, it's mostly about it's the heart of the Themesian Union. Like, there's no real name for it needed, but we can come up with one, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. So over the years, they started to grow this union. And one connection, so I want to explain the lighthouse also. So Breeden was strong commercially, right? Economically. Like they were a huge port town, so they had, how do you say, like in the Dune movies you would say sea power, you know? Like they had all the access to the seas that they needed to grow a very commercial city. And that city is huge, maybe even bigger than the Shadowcloak city that we created, the Bizonian. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So the lighthouse is a story there. So there is this circle of mages in this universe, or sorcerers, that we actually might at some point create the island for. These mages...
That's cool. I always like that.
I don't want to go too much into the story of the mages, but basically you can imagine, like, one of these can wipe out entire armies. Like, they are super, super strong. You don't want to mess with them.
Nice. I want to draw them.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess with them. I do want to draw them.
And even if they're not part of the Union itself, because they keep their island very secluded, even though it's in territory of the Union, so they would be protected, but they're not part of it. The sorcerers in the school, they are allowed to join whatever they want, basically. So two mages of the circle decided to create this lighthouse because they were so inspired by this piece. So they created this lighthouse, and since then, like, they live a long time, and since then they powered it to guide ships into the havens of Breeden. And because it's magical light, it can basically go through fog, through everything. There's no limit to it. And it's basically two mages, because one is always awake and just creates this huge magical beam. So there is no crystal involved, but that's why we have the multiverse, right? Like, there is a version of this where there are no mages, they needed a crystal.
I mean, I can
literally
replace it with something else. There's no problem.
Now, does that mean that there's a tiny right in here? There's a little old wizard, and he's literally just standing there, casting magic. Do they take turns? Like, do they have shifts?
Yes, they do.
How do they swap over and maintain the light?
Well, I guess you have to get off my back for that.
I'm gonna need you to get.
I don't know. I guess comic book logic.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe at one point in every day, or 1 or 2 or 3 points, how long the shifts are, the lighthouse shines twice as bright for a moment when both of them have their light on, and then one turns it off, obviously. So there's just a flash of extra bright light, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, Bob's on duty now.
As well as have As well as having like really good magical prowess, they're really intelligent, they're really good with arcane studies. They're also really good at dancing, and so they're able to synchronize a switch in a way.
That's actually cool. I like that. That's no canon. So
It's like the changing of the guard sort of thing. Like it's a very like a choreographed procedure that has a lot of history and grace and stuff to it. Cool.
Definitely.
The dancing lighthouse mages.
Yeah. And the lighthouse basically was also raised by these two mages. So they raised it from magical crystals from the ground. So that's what you see, like these crystals that are on the ground. These are like the crystals that also give them
these
power.
Are the crystals. Okay.
They strengthen their power.
So let me make those look more crystal. That's sick. What color are they?
Purple. I actually have a colored version of this somewhere on my iPad. But I don't know where it is right now. So.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
We'll, that'll be for a future reveal.
Yeah. So this is basically the story of this island. And by today, the city is one of the biggest havens in the whole universe. Like most of the trade, especially in the Themesian Union, centers around this. Since it sits in the center of in the center of the Union. So if ships have a multi-day trip, they definitely get into that haven at some point. And it's also a huge city. So you have a lot of activities there. And I'm kind of scared of actually making this into a map because it would take me days to actually place all the houses and everything.
All right, well, we better get started right now then.
So this is the.
All right,
the
this is going to be a 7-day live stream.
Yeah.
We'll design one city. Imagine that would be crazy. A live stream like a marathon where we just sit there for like days on end, like one of those programming ones. I don't know if those are real or just in movies.
They are, and I'm actually gonna do one next month. It's called a hackathon.
Hackathon! That's epic.
Yeah, I'm actually like I said, I won an LGG. Actually, it's really cool. LGG.
You what? Sorry.
Sorry, in Liège. Sorry, my company ships stuff, and the airport that we're doing it at is called LGG for Liège.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, that's why I was saying LGG, but yeah. In Liège, and it's going to be really cool. But coming back to this, so one of the rules that we encountered earlier from another island was, you might remember from our first one, is that dragons are not allowed to be interacted with. And that comes from this war because they realized that the kingdom fell because they interacted with a dragon, and it was super dangerous. So from this point on, one of the core rules of the Themesian Union is no interactions with dragons whatsoever. Just leave them be. And that's why the Giant Warriors Island, that's why it's illegal to go there, and that some people will go there illegally. That's what they did. But that's basically why it's illegal, because of that war. That's pretty much. And then I can also.
But dragons still exist.
Yeah,
dragons are still They
exist, and they are also not allowed to be hunted, because it could lead to the wrath of a dragon, which it's what they wanted to avoid.
So is there only one dragon on this island?
On this island, yes. On this island, yes.
And he's still around roaming. He gets to do his thing. He's cool.
Yes.
Okay.
While there's I think one settlement in the old Western Kingdom territory, which is technically owned by the dragon, but it's on the northern part. It's called the city is called Northern. Very creative again. Yeah. Actually, they're two. Yeah, and there's Mosley also. These two basically they started to settle there very, very small. And it's fine for now. The dragon doesn't show any interest in it, so probably fine.
I mean, what's the dragon's motive at this point?
Nothing. Does he have any? He just wants to live.
Oh, he's like us.
Yeah, I mean he will rain down his fire on you if you try to mess with him, but for now he's
Yeah.
pretty
So
chill. He has this
like I said, he's like us.
yeah, he has like a full island for himself. So what do you what's the point of fighting
Okay,
him?
well, I guess he's a little different. I have to share this island with people, so. But I will rain down my fire on if I'm messed with. So, we got a lot in common. I like him. Does he have a name?
No. No,
Okay.
not to my knowledge. Maybe they had one in
I
the
feel like he
Eastern
should have a
Kingdom.
name, or at least like something he's called, right?
I mean,
How do they
probably
refer to him? Just the dragon?
the RRG.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you do a dragon name, would you tend to go with a like a fancy like Thalrog, or would you go for like Blackwing or something that's actually like a words?
He's called the arrogant white dragon.
The arrogant what? White dragon? Oh, he's a
Yeah.
white dragon.
Yeah. It's like white privileges is also a
Okay.
thing in this universe, I guess.
I was gonna say you're getting real political with this map real fast.
There's also
Is that where you were-
energetic green dragon, which is also the tranquil white dragon. That could be cool, tranquil, because he's quite chill.
Is he though? I'm pretty sure all this is his fault.
I mean,
Well, not his fault, but his doing.
I mean, he basically saved the whole region, right? Like the whole island could be now doomed, but because of him,
Is he the only dragon in the world?
no, not at all. But the only one on this island.
Could he
So
be
one thing.
almost
Oh, go on.
called, like so? Because I can't remember what it is, but I think it's there's a few other D&D settings where dragons are rarer, and there's other stories where dragons are. There isn't. There aren't red dragons. There is a red dragon, and there is a black dragon, and they're sort of like they're less common, and they're almost like sort of kind of primordial forces of nature as much as they are dragons, and they're unbelievably powerful often because there's only one of them.
Yeah.
They're always called things that just translate to giant lizard or dragon because there's so few of them. The people that live nearby, they go, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Like, people call a kangaroo that got its name because someone went, "What's that?" And someone went, "I don't know." Why a kangaroo is called a kangaroo apparently because what I don't know in Aborigine is kangaroo.
Oh,
like-
no way.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but the story is that
There's something like that. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, like if there's only one of some crazy creature that a normal person would know about or refer to, then like if there was only one cat in the world, we'd call it cat.
Yeah.
And when you talk about cat, you wouldn't need a name. I mean, but it might actually just have a name. That's the thing, though. But the question is, would people know it?
It'd be a bit like if Japan had Godzilla, but they didn't know that the rest of the world also had their own Godzillas. So they were like, "Oh, it's Godzilla," and everybody, like, "Oh my god, it's Giant Guy." And America was like, "It's Big Boy," and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
we've got different. Don't know that.
I love how we went from Godzilla.
So Godzilla,
to
wait,
giant...
is Godzilla the name of its species? This is
It means
this is an
king
important topic. We'll probably have to. Oh, it means what?
I could be completely wrong. Godzilla, I assume, means king of lizards, but that's just a guess. I've just made that up on the spot. I've no idea what Godzilla stands for.
It's
Godzilla
Gojira.
means-
So, but okay, that makes sense. It's more of like it's almost like a title. So wait, one thing I'm doing here is because if you look at the overlay that you guys created, there's like the main city of Breeden, and then there's like the docks which are outside of the castle walls.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the idea there? It looks like.
From what I can tell, it's mostly just one city, but it's one long city, so it could be technically seen as a separate part of the city. Like, yeah, it could work. It could definitely work. But the docks.
But
are huge.
it's like, yeah. So it'd be something almost like how Los Angeles is like a freaking huge city, but there's
yes.
within Los Angeles you have like Malibu and Santa Monica and downtown and Compton and whatever. Like they've. So it's more like that where it's like this is all one thing, but within it there are like smaller cities almost.
You could say the port part of the city is its own ecosystem, because Breeden is more
Yes, okay.
like that's where the government sits. That's also something I will go into. But that's where the government sits, where all the rich people are, where all the big business is. And then the port town is like where that's the connection to the world, right? So it would be its own ecosystem, but it is still connected to Breeden. So it's a very nice port. It's huge. It can anchor hundreds of ships, like huge trading ships. Yeah, but it could be considered its own town, yes. But it might be though that it's one consistent city. Yeah, so yeah, it could work.
So let's draw a ship here. Okay, cool. So wait, does that catch us up on the 3,000 years, or do we have any more?
We have one small bit that we can go to, and then I'll let you draw. So for that, we have to go to the southeast of the map, to Camp Warden and Camp Warden and
here we go.
Yes, and Arcton.
Wolfpine.
Yeah. So Camp Warden and Wolfpine have a very, very interesting story. So Camp Warden was the military camp they used for spying on the Western Kingdom, and as a defense point if they would ever try to come from the south, right? But at this time, like when it was built during the war, and it was a very long trip to Breeden. So what they created was this like small little town. You could see it like a bit like Hogwarts has Hogsmeade, like next to it.
Yes.
It's like a connection to Hogwarts, and you kind of have to go to Hogsmeade to go to Hogwarts. That's kind of the city.
Okay.
And because Camp Warden was big military camp, it gained a huge traction. So more people settled there, and they created business for the soldiers. And Camp Warden to today is still used for training the military of the Eastern Kingdom. Sorry, the Western Kingdom. No, wait, Eastern. Sorry, I get confused sometimes. It's for the Union. Okay, the Union. They still train their troops there. And yeah, it became a huge town now, like the second biggest on that island. Just because of that. And there was also Arcton, which is next to it, to the west of it. And Arcton, the story there is that the camp needed iron for the machinery, for the weapons, right? And they couldn't just export everything from the north of the island where all the big mines are. So they created Arcton, which was like a small in the south.
This one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they started to create mines specifically for Camp Warden there, to not have to travel to the north, get the iron, and then travel to the south again, because that's a multi-day trip, right? So yeah, that's the story behind that, and I think also that's a pretty cool one. And then Wolfpine became one of the most popular cities on, like, the second biggest on that island to settle in, because there's a huge opportunity for business, and that's why the Thermesian Union decided to train the troops in Camp Warden, to not ruin that town, because they thought it was really cool. Yeah, that's nice. That's basically the full story of that island, as far as I can tell. And yeah, the wall in between is pretty broken down because of the war. Even though it was like decided by both sides to create it at the end, the Western Kingdom just became too paranoid and also started to attack the wall. But Breeden decided to fight for the wall. To defend the wall. So parts of it.
Yeah, you made things tricky by having a north-south wall. You did a good job, but way easier to draw east-west wall, by the way, for future world-building purposes. Let me just throw that out there.
But if I do north and south side islands, that's way too cliche. So now it's east and west side, which is also.
Is that cliche? I wasn't aware that there were island world-building cliches.
That's the problem with what we've got with the map. It's the stupid map from Tomb of Annihilation. Is it Port Nyanzaru, where the map is displayed in a portrait form?
Yes.
Displayed west to east. So you go, you need to go north. Sorry, you need to go west, because I'm looking at the map in a way. So it is cool, and I know what you mean. But in practice, it always trips me up. I'll always say, you need to go.
And I'm almost sure they did that just so that they could fit it on a page well. Because I was thinking about that, and I was like, why would they do that? And I'm like, oh, because you didn't want them to have to flip the book horizontally, right? That's got to be the reason.
It seems like it would have worked fine.
Well, it would have worked fine. Yeah.
The book's got tons of stuff in that you have to. Maybe there's not tons of stuff you've got to rotate, but there's definitely like at the back of it, there's a bunch of diagrams and like layouts for dungeons and things, and you'll spin that around. I don't know. It seems very odd, but it is cool.
Yeah, well,
it's different.
When Wizards of the Coast wants to get their act together, they can talk to us, and we'll consider advising them as independent contractors. So until that day, we shall complain about it on live streams. All right. So that's cool. That's cool. So this is I think we've got a good general idea. Is there more? Is there anything else? Other important features of note?
I think that's it.
That's it for now. Okay.
Yeah. I think
so what are your initial thoughts, Will? And then I have a little fun idea.
What to do? I mean, I'm kind of here to just draw what Phil wants, really, because I don't want to change his world. I think we need to make sure you don't forget deserts, and I always like to do, where possible, stuff on maps that's like the sort of geography of it, because geography informs how maps should be. So there's a really good example. Forbidden Realms, in the Sword Coast, I think it is. And I saw someone talking about this on one of the D&D Beyond videos. He was talking about how I think it was there's a glacier at the north, and then below that there's a rock field, and it's because that's what happens to glaciers as they move. They melt, and they have massive boulders trapped in them, and then those boulders are sort of freed. So you get I always try and put stuff like that in, but that's always done after you've come up with the basics, because you can't, otherwise you spend a billion years basically developing an actual planet. So yeah, I think get the key features down, get the rough layout, get the cities and stuff, and then you can sort of figure out all the other stuff.
How impassable are these mountains? That's one thing I'm curious about. These north-south mountains.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They shouldn't be too
should
big.
There be gaps between them, or it's like pretty like a solid range?
So where there's no wall, they didn't need a wall. So the mountain should be thick. But in the south of the map, solid. That's why they have the Camp Warden there, because it was a bit more vulnerable than the north, where the mountains are harder to cross.
I see. Okay, cool.
You can see
there's like forests
in the north, in the south, like there are paths through the in between the mountains that are going through forests, but here you can see there are a lot more mountains.
That makes sense. Okay, so that was intentional.
Yes.
Cool. Just making sure. Okay. All right. What I would like to do now to start to get a more personal investment in this world is to randomly generate. I think we should each randomly generate like a race and class and maybe personality trait, and then kind of be like, okay, where in the world would this fit? That'd be like our PC. Let's say if we were going to randomly start a campaign right now. I think does that make sense? So I'm going to bring up the RRG. Okay, hold on. Or I can actually do it on my screen so we can see what comes up. Because this will be a good, I think, exercise too.
Hello?
In figuring out. Okay, philcom.dev. Where is it? It should come right up. There it is. Okay. So shall I go first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we do a personality trait too, or should we come up with that? I guess one, right? Makes it a little more interesting. And then a race and a class. All right, I'm just gonna do it.
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out why the chat is not displaying anymore. Yeah, okay.
The chat wasn't displaying.
It's rendering. It's just not showing up on the stream, which is a bit weird.
All right, we get some technical difficulties. Ooh, cool. Yeah, we started a bit of a fantasy world builders club. So we'll talk about when that's not like an offline thing where we just kind of chat world building. So I've been trying. We had one meeting. It was really fun.
Sorry, I need to tell you how stupid I am. So basically, the background of the image, right, with the tower and everything, that was that was in front of the browser window, which displays.
The chat, there it is.
Yeah, like clap for my last brain cell. But anyway.
It's a beautiful brain cell. All right, I'm doing it. So wait, are there tieflings in this world? Oh, go on, Will. What were you gonna say?
Well, I'm watching the stream on my phone, and I can't see this. I can bring up the live chat, but it's not laid over the image.
It's coming. There's always
I see
a couple
it now.
of seconds delay to what you see on YouTube, but now it's there. Now I can see it. It's good.
So wait, do you have tieflings in this world? That's an interesting question.
I don't know.
Now it's been brought up.
Now we have.
Now we have at least one. Okay, so a friendly tiefling ranger. It gives me the idea that maybe tieflings aren't in this world, but he left like some dark land, or not on this island because he's actually a friendly fellow. And if he's a friendly fellow, he might have ended up in Breeden. I feel like, or even up in the north potentially.
Yeah, the north are pretty new settlements, so then he must have come here very, very recently.
Very recently. Well, that's the thing. Now we have there could be one of the main points of this world you've created is to have all these different islands with different, stories, backstories. Yes. So there could potentially be like a tiefling island to the north somewhere. That's kind of what I'm kind of imagining. And maybe they still have that infernal bloodline that, makes them quite unfriendly, unpleasant to be around. And so this friendly tiefling ranger, he potentially is a ranger because he left his society. He didn't want to be part of the clan skirmishes and wars, and so he went off and lived in the forest. And at the first chance he got, built like a canoe and just braved the water, barely survived washing up on the shore of Northen. And that's where he wanted to build a life anew. But he has nothing to his name, so he would be. So if this was like my PC character, he'd be like, his motivation would be just to make some money and start to like earn his place in the world. So whatever adventuring jobs he can get, he's a pretty badass dude because he's lived in the forest a lot and he's a tough customer. So what kind of adventures do you think might happen in Northen? Do you have any ideas there? Like what's going on in the north?
Yes, actually. Lady Science frying pan was stolen yesterday, and now they have to investigate why. like I just want to emphasize how boring these northern cities are because they're so small.
Is that right?
It's like a 3-person town. Like mostly it's pretty much like 5-6 people, and Northern is maybe like 50, 60. Like it's really, really small. So maybe who stole Lisa's lunchbox? That's like the hot topic of the week.
Ooh.
Like something like
5 or 6 people. They can't be a town. That's not enough. That's like a house.
Wait, what did you say? What?
5 or 6 families or 5 or 6 people.
Oh yeah. There wouldn't be a marker this but maybe they're these like Mormon families. Like they've got lots and lots of kids kind of thing. There's 5 or 6 families. They're basically clans.
So from what I understood is that the Breeden, the northern and mostly Breeden settlers. So Breeden is a rich city. So they have a lot of money. So every person or every couple might have their own house there. So even if it's just like 20 people, there are already like 10 houses. And the church, of course, because religion is also a big thing in this universe.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yes.
We'll have to get into that later.
Yes, at some point. Yes, but that's its own episode, I think. What the religions are. The religions. I mean, we met already one, right? The followers of the dragon. the ones on the Giant Warriors Island.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
the cult, the cult that was actually a split group from the Western Kingdom that now tries to take over their kingdom again and make it theirs. The followers of the dragon who follow the dragonborn.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So who stole what? What's their name's lunchbox?
I don't know. I just came up
You
with
said something great.
I
Forget
said,
the name, but it was
I said
perfect.
Lisa and Sein. I was like Seinfeld.
Lisa's.
It's just Seinfeld popped into mind. I was like, I cannot say Seinfeld, so I just said Sein.
Who Stole Lisa's Lunchbox is the
Yeah.
first adventure module that we'll be releasing for this island. And you can play as a tiefling ranger if you want to use one of the pre-gen characters. Norm, his name's Norm, short for Normandial.
It's a
But he goes by
classmate of
Norm.
Lisa's, and he might have
He's a
seen
classmate.
something.
Exactly. Okay, cool. He might have, Who
Yeah,
knows?
you
You'll
know.
have to invest in the adventure module to find out. Do you guys want to roll a random character and
All right. How do we? Okay,
see
so
what comes up?
I'm gonna roll a random character. How you usually do that? Which categories do you use? Personality and then?
I just use personality, race, and class, but you could also throw quality in there if you want to. That usually works.
Okay, then I put quality in the beginning, and then I have quality,
Okay.
personality, race, class. That's a joyous, cowardly half-elf druid.
Joyous and cowardly half-elf druid. Okay. Now, do you have world building around elves yet
No.
for this main island? No. Okay.
But that's the cool thing about, like, every island can have a different story for every race. So on one island, the elves can be the bad guys and can be the descendants of very terrible people, but on the other side, they're the holiness. So that's what I like. So we can. I don't have, like, most settlers here are humans, but the rest.
That's
like,
what I was
we
just going
can
to clarify.
have.
Okay. That makes sense. So most are humans for this island, which means, but then if you have other races and classes, it's a good chance they came from another island.
Yes. That could
be. In the more recent past.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So where do you think would this half-elf druid call home within these regions?
I mean, we could put him into Mosley, maybe. So
where is that?
So what I could imagine is Mosley is pretty close to the dragon's territory, right? So you would need someone who can protect the city in case the dragon would decide to attack. And maybe they hired him like as a temporary thing, but he liked it there so much that he decided to stay and protect this town as long as he lives. And
so he would be from these forests, this great forest, which you haven't named, it seems.
I don't have a name for that, but I don't think there's someone living in there because that's even closer. But maybe he uses like parts of the forest for his magic.
Because he's a druid, so I would assume or I guess he could. I don't know. I always associate druids with forests, but that's true. He could be like from the plains or be associated with a different.
But maybe he uses these woods to create a magical barrier between the two territories. It's not like a barrier that you can see or something, but it's more like the dragon flies in that direction and then suddenly decides not to. Like a mystical barrier that is not really visible, or it's not like a protective shield, but it's more like a mind-altering thing that also might keep the people of Mosley out of the woods.
Is this something that would be cultivated by the druids? Like some kind of spell?
I guess so. Yes, they use their voodoo magic to...
Well, what makes me think that there are maybe like a druid cult somewhere in the forest, hidden, and they're like very brave for being closer to the dragon. But this character you rolled is cowardly and joyous, so he wanted a little bit more of a relaxed life. So he's like, you know what, I can be your emissary, your ambassador. Station myself in Mosley, take care of customer relations, frequent the taverns, HR. You need some good PR. People think you guys are out there running around naked, sacrificing people in the forest. We don't want that. We don't want that image. So let me go talk to them.
Also, one thing
No,
that
I
I can
imagine.
imagine is, so the closer you come to the dragon, the more attention you get from Breeden or the Thymian Union, because it's forbidden, basically, to
Oh yeah, that
come
makes
close to
sense.
his territory and to interact with him. So maybe the druid is an emissary that is mostly in Mosley stationed, and every once in a while he gets a visit from Thymian Union emissaries, and he has to like show them that they don't have any bad intentions with the dragon, and they're not also not
Hmm.
interacting with him, but just in a peaceful manner just live there. So that
Just
could
live
be
in
a
a
role.
forest. That makes sense. You know what? I think that Norm might actually want to apply for. He's a nature loving fellow. He's a bit of an outcast, being a tiefling. So half elves and elves of druids might hopefully welcome him. So I think he's gonna travel south from Norson, try to meet up with your character in Mosley and see if he can convince him to do whatever trials are needed to become a druid in this order. 'Cause,
Yeah.
it sounds like a good life for him. Sounds like a good life. And now I'm curious to see how Will's character is going to fit into this trio we're creating.
Where is a random character generator? What one are you using?
You can go to the philcom.dev/rrg, or I can
Shameless
roll it
plug.
for you if
Yeah.
you want. Yeah.
Is it Philcom, all one word? I'm sure I've done it.
Yes, with 2 M's on the com.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Then it's /rg. There's no link on the main website, so you have to actually type /rg. I'm currently reworking the site. Actually, no, I added a link
Where's
like a
the
while
link?
ago.
Is there not a link?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, there is a link.
Right,
Nice.
right. I added that like a week ago.
I can do race.
Oh, fancy. Fancy programmer with HTML with some hyperlinks. You got some hyperlinks on your site. It's pretty impressive.
Actually, in HTML, they're called anchors, but okay.
Oh, is that right? Oh my god.
You got schooled.
Yeah, seriously. Whatever programs I'm using apparently are ancient.
I've got I've gone for race, class, and personality. So I've got a hypercritical dwarf fighter.
Okay, that sounds like the perfect character to round off this group.
What's
You know that sounds like an instructor for Camp Warden.
That does.
Oh, you mean
that
like
makes sense.
He's hypercritical over people's just anything. He's very critical. I thought it meant he's like really good at getting crits.
Oh my!
I thought
you wish.
I thought that for a second, but
gets a crit on any even number or something. That'd be amazing.
Oh wow! I love these mechanics. I wonder who's everyone's gonna want to play that pre-gen character.
But every time he rolls an odd number, he loses health or something like that. So you either do really well or you die really quick.
Or even better, like he's hypercritical, but jokes on you, his stats are really shit, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It makes sense that he would be a camp warden, or he'd be a prison guard, or he'd be someone in a position of authority that isn't that important. Like he's in charge of a thing, but it's not like he's a lord or a knight or anything.
Yeah.
Really important. So he's got a sort of an inflated sense of self-worth, and he's very, very critical over things, to a ludicrous degree. And I would also imagine he's probably a bit of a hypocrite. He's quite bad at doing things, that he says other people should do. Maybe he looked at his own failings as that's what he sees in other people. So anything that reminds him of himself, he's a very morose character. He's quite old, 350 years old. So he's old for a dwarf. He's been doing the position for 100 years or so. And I imagine not even a prison, like a camp warden or something. So it's like, what do they even do really? And his name would be, I don't know. I want to say Budrigar, but Budrigar is a type of bird. I don't know. People don't know what that is.
That's awesome.
But so the Budrigar.
And if you make fun of him for that, because because in the US we know them as parakeets. And they're very unintimidating little birds.
I'm not sure. Is a parakeet?
The little they come in different colors and they're very common as pets.
Oh, it is. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I've had a few parakeets in my life. They're cute, but they're not the smartest. They're not like, parrots can get very smart, but as far as parrots go, they're not the smartest parrots.
These guys are a bit, yeah. So, but
they're cute.
And he's maybe he's also got a little bit of kind of colourful. I always want to try and make dwarves as not stereotypical as possible. So he's not Scottish. He's not, I'm a dwarf, because that's every dwarf.
Okay.
Maybe he has like a kind of a
Nordic,
Spanish.
Spanish.
Spanish. I like it. Okay, go on. Do tell.
He's got a Spanish accent. He's got a kind of like an olive skin tone. He's from the kind of that Mediterranean kind of ethnicity, and he's got, I'm trying to think, really colour hair. I think probably maybe blonde, but it's faded, so it's like shit straw blonde. It's like it's just a strawy kind of rough. It's getting a bit of greys getting in there. Although surprisingly for his age, it is still coloured. It's not completely grey, but it's obviously tired. And he puts colourful feathers in his beard, maybe, because that's, big dwarves like to add things to themselves. But instead of it being, so he's not very rich, so he can't afford fancy jewelry, so he'll just put brightly coloured things in it, a bit like a budgie.
That's dope. I like that. I'd love to see this character. I don't think I've ever seen a dwarf painted in such a beautiful poetic light, man. That's cool. So is there any way that you could think that he would be connected with the two characters that we made? So there's this quite a distance. I'm wondering if there's a way.
He could also be, visually, he's making me think of a pirate. So I don't know, he could have been he could just be that he's met your characters or your people because they have come into the place that he's at. He could have been, maybe if he's not a warden, because he's kind of a bit of a petty character at the minute. So to make him a bit more well-rounded, maybe he isn't. He's an adventurer. He goes around. He's an adventuring type. He's difficult for people to get on with because he's so critical of their own performance. So he looks at other people and he's never happy. They've got to be better than how they're performing currently. Maybe he worked in some organization before that was really successful, that had really, really high standards, and he's trying to relive those heydays with sort of people he meets, and it never quite matches his expectations.
I'm kind of seeing like that could have been Camp Warden is where, he got everything into shape. He worked there for like 100 years. That's, training everyone, everything's in tip top condition, ship shape. And now he's retired. So he's like, I want a quieter life. So he travels all the way up to like Mossley, Northern area. He's like, that'll be quiet and chill. But he gets over there and he's just like, these people are doing everything wrong. This is not the way you run a town. This is not how you build like the military is completely just useless up here, and he can't, like, kind of like almost like a workaholic, and he's just like, okay, let me fix things up. He starts to basically like reassign himself as the new captain of like Mossley, and then that's where our character is Norm. And did you name yours? Your druid?
No. Yes, I have a random name generator here. So his last name is Plainforge.
Oh, that's cool. Plainforge. That's good.
And his first name is Ebeir. E-B-E-I-R.
E-B-E-I-R. Ebeir.
Yeah.
Ebeir. All right.
Then it's
Plainforge.
Plainforge. It's actually a really cool name for a generated one.
That is cool. Ebeir Plainforge. That's sick. Okay. That's sick.
Also,
so we got
Sorry.
It's crazy. It's like American names are all really cool. Like a lot of American names sound really cool. At least they do to English people, because I think it's with the Ellis Island names being changed. So like they took a name that was quite complicated to pronounce, like Bill's surname, and then when they were writing it down, it changed. So American surnames just sound cool.
Could you give me an example? I'm not. I'm sure. Like, what's a cool?
He's Canadian, isn't he? But you know, that kind of like it's like an English version of a foreign word. What's the skateboarder? Chad. What's the guy? What's
Chad Muska, baby.
Chad Muska. Yeah. And
I've never met anyone named Muska, but it isn't. He has a particularly cool name, I have to say.
Yeah. But people in England don't get called Chad. That would be crazy to call someone in England.
That would be crazy.
Hello, my name is Chad. No, it's not. That's
Chad.
Albert.
No, it's not.
If they were called Chad, it would be short for like Chadsworth or something, which is a surname that I've met. I'm sure I've met someone sort of called Chadsworth. My name's Peter Chadsworth.
Oh, hey, Foul Nave is in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good old Jordan, man. We should have him pop on. If we weren't about to wrap up the stream, I think we'll have to have him come on one of these, because that's the OG crew, right?
Yeah.
That's all of us.
Well, it's what was his name? The other German, Nico.
Yeah, Nico. That's true, man. I haven't talked to him in a bit. We stay in touch, but it's been a minute. Yeah, that would be great. Oh man, that would be so cool. All right, we'll have to have a family reunion at some point.
I was actually thinking like have a summit or something, a Pen and Blade summit, and then we light the beacons, and then everybody comes together.
Hell yeah!
Like while you're still in Europe, not Europe, but let's say before you move away again, would actually be very cool to just like meet somewhere in Europe, which is close.
Yeah,
to
man.
all of us.
Nico is working at has been working at a comic book shop for a long time now.
Okay.
And so that's a perfect place to have a Pen and Blade summit. We'll just take over the comic book shop. So everyone, Will can get to Germany. We're gonna have to work on Jordan, but we'll have to. He's on the East Coast, so that's not too far. You know, it's as close as you'll get in the U.S. But he says he's working at this hour, so we'll have to see. One day we might stream at a different time and see if we can get him on here, because that would be epic. But yeah, that's sick. Okay, cool. I think we came up with some cool characters, man. And I was just doodling randomly, but this the first couple areas a little bit. That could be more subtle. But the first few areas I think looking pretty cool to start with.
Yeah. So yeah, we can take like I don't know, a break session next time and then work on this again. But I think there should be some fleshing out. Like for example, the Druid Forest. Now I'm really curious what is in the Druid Forests. So
do you think that would be the name, or would it come up with a different name?
I
Do you
would
want to
have
think
a
on
different
that?
name, because like the Druid Circle is supposed to be like more secret than not.
What's coming to me is the Black Moss Woods.
The Black Moss Woods. I like it.
All right. Well, that's a placeholder name. The name to beat.
Yeah. So we need to figure out that flesh them out a bit.
I think actually people would just call it Black Moss.
That sounds more like a city name.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Black Moss Woods. Yeah, I think Woods is good.
All right.
But cool. Will, have you been working on something during the stream? Should I share?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Oh, have you now? Oh, and
it's still.
Okay, let's see if you can stream without me turning mine off. But we'll do a little quick live test. This is this is how we roll. Let's see. Let me know when you're trying to stream. If it doesn't work, then I will stop streaming.
I think I am streaming currently.
Oh, okay. So you can't switch between us, Phil. There's nothing you see over there that lets you.
I don't see Will's screen, no.
Manage settings, backgrounds and effects. Okay, we'll figure it out next time. I'm feeling there's a way to make it work, but maybe after we'll look up a tutorial. Well, okay, cool. So I'm just gonna stop share. And then boom, Will's screen immediately popped up as soon as I stopped sharing. So it's like, I don't know. It was streaming at some level. Sick. Those are the reefs.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of playing around with how to replicate them really, because if you look at coral reefs, so this one in particular, the one that's large, it's trying to make
weird.
that. Yeah, they're really odd. So they've got these thick kind of. This is a particular type of coral, I guess. They're not. This is the Great Barrier Reef, so they won't all look like this, but they've got that thick red border, and that's raised up. So the light water on the other side is higher than the water that's on the left, if we're looking at the bottom right corner, because the coral's kind of built up. So it's really shallow, and there's lots of sand, and you can even see that the sand is really evident towards the edge of the red. It like goes red, sand. Oh, not that. Not that. I suppose that's fair enough. But yeah, red, sand, and then the kind of light blue water. So represent that really without spending a million years on it. So I'm just doing different colours and stuff. But the other, I sort of did a colour map before to sort of figure out where the colours are going. So that's the lighter blue water. So actually that should be, now this should be lighter. This should be the kind of lightest. This one is the second lightest, and this one's where the ocean really is. And the cool thing about coral is that really where the purple is, that's really, really deep. Like it drops off super quick. So yeah, I don't know how you feel about this in terms of the matching your requirements, but I'm quite happy with it so far.
It's really, I mean, like this is a new island, so I don't have any requirements to it. So I really like the corals. One world building aspect that I could really think works well with this is that so we already established that the portal is kind of spreading, right? And to keep it from spreading, they built the portal room with the structure around it. But somehow still it kind of when the portal was created, it kind of split the island, like teared it apart a bit, right? And maybe the corals are not just from one universe, and maybe because of that have different colors in some spots, because they're not just from this universe, but they're kind of merging with other universes. It's kind of like a multiversal coral reef.
Cool.
I don't know. That's something that I could see works well with the story of this island. Yeah, and in other universes and in other universes corals could have a different color, right? So
yeah. Well, I mean, absolutely. You do. There's a cool sword I saw actually the other day that was it was purely made for decorative purposes, but someone had made a handle out of a piece of coral, and it was just beautiful. It was like, what, you know, I think it was commissioned by one of the Louis, you know, Louis the 14th or something like that. So years ago. Cool. Very
cool.
They actually were. That'll be amazing.
All right. Well, this was cool, man. I'm gonna have to start wrapping up, but yeah, this was fun. I love the map. We've started refining the world, the main island, which we still don't have a name for. I think that's going to be your homework, Phil. This is your baby.
God damn it.
So
back in school again.
Yeah, I know, man.
I think this island is mostly referred to as either the capital, the Breeden, or the capital of the Themesian Union. I think it doesn't really need to have a name. But yeah, maybe it has like for the locals, you know, they have a name for it, but the rest just calls it the capital or something.
The capital of the island, the whole island is the capital, not just Breeden.
I mean, the Breeden is the capital of the island, and the island is the capital of the Union.
Okay. I guess my question is, when you're on another island and you're telling people you're taking a vacation to this island, what the heck do you say? That's, I don't know. Whatever you want to, you know, like that's what I would call its name.
Good point.
You're going to the capital. I don't know. But then the capital would mean, you know, you could be confused about.
Then they would probably say Breeden, because most outsiders only know Breeden, right? Like that's the huge city on this map. So they would probably only know that town, and they might not even be aware that there's other settlements on that island. Maybe they are aware of them, but they don't know the names.
Interesting. All right, cool. Well, this is a topic we'll probably revisit in a future stream, I think. Right. Any final thoughts or parting words?
Hiya! Hiya!
And you, Phil?
Yeah, I'm just excited to roll the outro now.
Sure.
Okay, cool. That was really, really fun. Thank you so much for starting to flesh out this. I know it's a huge island, and it's pretty much the biggest one in this universe, in my opinion, because they all should be quite contained, right? But this is big.
This is big.
So
it's almost a small continent.
I know. So we're probably gonna need like 2 or 3 more sessions to fully flesh it out. And I would say like let's have like 1 or 2 filler sessions in between with some other island or I don't know some other random stuff, and then every once in a while come back to this and just expand it a bit further until we have a finished map. That would be really cool.
Right on.
Cool.
So let's roll that outro.
All right. Yeah, then thanks guys for coming and see you guys soon. Bye.